Good evening. Yesterday, I received the opportunity. My football coach had asked me if I wanted to help him with a few of my other teammates run an elementary football camp. When I went into it, I thought, okay, I'm going to help teach them football. I got there and I realized it's like a t-ball game. They know nothing about football and it was hilarious. And the station I was in charge of, I helped them learn how to tackle this dummy that's about 3 feet tall and it's weighted at the bottom and it falls down and pops back up when they hit it. But one kid, his name's Wild Mike. The other groups had given him that nickname. So I knew by his nickname he was going to be trouble. And I had him go in line and he tackles the dummy. Well, after he tackles it, he's supposed to go to the back of the line. He decides to go behind the dummy and start punching it and kicking it and trying to rip off its helmet. Well, it doesn't have on a helmet. And I'm trying to explain to him, you can't do that in a game because you're going to cost your team yards and you're going to cost your team a penalty. And I could have easily just screamed at him and said, what are you doing? What are you thinking? But I chose to take that moment to teach him what he should have done instead. So I told him, you need to tackle the guy, pick him up, and then leave him alone. Don't do anything else to him. Don't try and aggravate him. And I was looking at Luke chapter 6, starting in verse 40, and it says, a student is not above his teacher, but everyone who is fully trained will be like his teacher. I thought of this verse with this scenario because I taught him so that one day he'll know as much as me about football, hopefully. He'll be at that level where he is able to teach other kids how to play football. And I thought about it, in our Christian walk, it's the same way. Sometimes we have people who do something that's not supposed to be done, and we have to go to them, and we can either scream at them and say, what are you thinking? Or we can go teach them what they should do through Scripture. But we run into a big problem with that. And that problem is in James 3, verse 1. It says, not many of you should presume to be teachers, my brothers, because you know that we who teach will be judged more strictly. Those who teach have to make sure that they are in full accordance and full word breathed before they just go and decide to go teach somebody else. And that's a problem we struggle with as Christians, is that we want to go help somebody, but are we using our opinions on what they shouldn't do, or are we using the word? And because we're, as teachers, we are more strictly judged, that applies to our spiritual life, and it applies to theirs, because if we lead them astray, they won't end up in heaven. So I thought about it more, and there was another kid that was at the camp, and he couldn't tackle right. And the problem was how he started. He was too low, and he'd trip on himself, and I helped him out, and he became the best. Well, I thought of it like this. If we take this verse and we don't teach because we're scared, we're going to get strictly judged, and we're not going to teach the right thing, we end up hurting ourselves and them. If I wouldn't have told him how to do it, he would have kept tripping on himself and got hurt and wouldn't know what to do. So sometimes there's two different possibilities. It's either we don't teach them or we teach them too strictly. So we have to be in the middle of that. So it takes a lot of patience. And sometimes we get very angry when we're teaching somebody, but the Bible teaches we have to do it in loving and kind words. So if you would like help with patience or any other struggles, or would like to be baptized, please come forward as together we stand and sing.